I could add other streaming services to this plugin, but now I have to go to Twitch. No, not Twitch. YouTube VOD channel at OhBotherVOD, and then I have to pop out the chat. Pop out the chat, and then I'll unmute the music. Pop out chat. There we go. Okay, so now we're set up for the occasional YouTube floater. I'm water cooling my system since 2003. Went full aqua computer for the first time until I got a 1080 Ti with a block from watercool. That's cool. Yeah, water cooling doesn't make sense that much, huh? Live streaming to OnlyFans? I probably could. And then I'll stream to my Patreon. I actually do have a Patreon, but you're not allowed to sign up for it because I haven't activated it. Just in case I felt like going that route, I kind of squatted on the username. But you know, YouTube and Twitch, it would be kind of cool to add. I don't think I would add Kick though. I don't think I would see the necessity in that. Let's leave this window open because I want to. Oh, did I two titty P5 R5? I'll want to explain how I got here with the warning light, but we need to start the we need to Tasmotize the warning light. So, and this is what I built in the background since last stream. Basically, if it contains critical or info, otherwise, which would be the non-critical alerts, red, yellow, green. So. I like the silence that comes with the proper amount of radiators. Yeah, that's the thing. We will do an AutoCAD stream soon. And what I want to do is make a shroud that I'm going to 3D print that will use the 200 millimeter fans. I have two 200 millimeter Noctuas, and I want to sandwich my radiators in between those. And we'll make something that drafts to the 200 millimeter fan from the 680 millimeter fan radiators, because a new radiator that would specifically fit those fans, it would look like a goddamn car radiator, but it would be pretty cool to have on the wall PC. It's $130, like $160 for a new radiator. These new Alpha Cool radiators have like ports on the sides and stuff, so I could actually get the bubbles out of the system much easier, but they're just so expensive now, probably because they're imported from Germany. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Alpha Cool 200 millimeter rad. Oh. There was a... Let's just get rid of the... smaller sizes, larger sizes. Then we get up to like 400 2x200 millimeter, $175 for this. But it does have, see, those ports being in the middle is kind of irresponsible. I guess maybe you could have it go down and through, and then you could use those top ports to get rid of bubbles. But it's still $175. Gets here tomorrow, so I guess I'm not importing it. I don't know. That would be crazy. That would look like a car radiator on the side of my computer. And it would take up the entire panel. But we're not going to do that. I'm going to do the two 200 millimeters sandwiching the two radiators that I already have. That should be enough to cool it properly and be kind of quiet. Fill the system by pulling a vacuum beforehand. I don't know if I have something that I can create a vacuum with. What do I have? I turned it off. That's not a vacuum. Lungs? What do you just put a straw in it and a little puffer thing? I had a 2-fan block, but it doesn't keep my machine cool enough. The ones that I used on that crazy CAD computer that we made work just fine. When I start up like a taxing game, I haven't played anything AAA, but when I start up a taxing game, they spool up. they stay spooled, but all my temperatures stay pretty okay. So I am, the next thing we're doing with that computer is putting a full kilowatt power supply on it, because I was doing weird stuff and I decided that the project of creating a new power supply for the computer, while righteous and fun and interesting, would take a lot of time. And so I decided to just make my computer in the meantime. And so we had a 750 watt power supply on it, which means I had to turn off all the little turbo boost features. And I'm still dealing with some weird instabilities that I think stem from disabling these sort of base features of the motherboard. So, and the processor and stuff. So I can crank that little bit of extra speed out of my machine. We can get it on the wall instead of being in kind of a compact thing. And I can put big fans on the little radiators and get the performance that I need out of it. I don't think it'll change much. It's just that if the fans are moving a lot of air through, it won't be as loud. These little pumps with 3 rollers in a tube, a peristaltic pump. Those are very good for measuring and metering liquid into a system. Like if you have a fish tank and you want only a certain amount of like medication to go in, you can use a peristaltic pump and you can move it a certain number of times, and that will equate to this many, this volume of whatever was in the tube, because it just rolls by the tube. Peristaltic pumps are used in hospital settings a lot. They've got these linear ones where you just put not catheter tube, whatever the line is, the IV line, you put that in there, close it, and it just has like a rolling wave that'll move a metered amount of liquid through. Yeah, peristaltic pumps are interesting. They're a weird way of doing things, and they're a little bit destructive. Geez, this music is so distracting today. The definition of overkill: using a vacuum to fill your water cooling loop the same way you use a vacuum to fill a car's cooling system. I've never done the vacuum method. I hear it's pretty good, though. Just posted a clip of "That's Not a Vacuum." Is that on the Discord? Couple other clips. Ah, the Idea Light. What did I say? The wind, yeah. I'm like, wait, what did I do again? I forgot. It's been 7 seconds. I do not have any long-term or short-term memory as a streamer. Oh, I see. So that's the thing you do in cars, is when you fill up that coolant system in order to not have to chase down bubbles. Although, if your car is designed properly, the cooling system should have at the local high points, it should actually have, you know, little bleeder valves that you can use in order to make sure that there's no bubbles in the system. But apparently a way to avoid even doing that is just to pull a vacuum on all of your tubes, and then you fill it with, the AC gets vacuum filled. Ah, that's true. I guess you don't want to have that. I thought it got flushed instead of filled in that manner, but I guess that makes sense. Well, the engine coolant usually goes through tubes that can collapse, and then that could keep you from being able to form a vacuum on the whole system. So the air conditioning system is going to consist of hard tubes that don't collapse on themselves. Works really good and really fast. That's crazy. I've never done that before. I've never done it before. I don't know what that would entail. That sounds crazy. The warning light stuff should go pretty quickly. And then we've got something that just scares the pants off of me, which is programming a Raspberry Pi with C++ and somehow being able to compile, possibly starting a new, whatever it is, Visual C++ program. We're going to have to find tutorials, and it's going to be a whole thing. This is going to be a nightmare because I don't understand any of it. The C++ I do just gets immediately yeeted onto a microcontroller where it's much easier to understand what's going on, as opposed to just programming a program for a computer. It seems way different to me. You use a shop vac on the coolant to suck it up. Interesting. So you would pressurize it or depressurize it using the shop vac, and then fill it until it starts filling the shop vac. And apparently that works really well for refilling cool and interesting. I don't want to rant about it because I'll rant and rave about this all day. I could talk about this forever. It's what car guys do. They talk about cars all fucking afternoon and evening and morning and night, and they could just keep talking about nothing but cars for an inordinate amount of time. So like to the heat death of the universe, the very last atom wiggling in the entire universe is going to be a car guy talking about fucking cars. Just talking about cars. That will be the very last act of mankind. Anyway, in the billions of years from now, when the heat death is finally realized, cars. I have this ridiculous bug. I'm just nettled. It's under my skin. One day I'm gonna buy a 944. I'm gonna rip the engine out because the 944 is a pariah. It's not like people don't like to think of it as a Porsche. So it's simple like a Porsche though, and so I want to rip the engine and the transaxle out of one of them and put a whole electric drive system in there, and then it can be sort of a vehicle for my itch on having project car stuff to do, like redoing the interior and things like that. Like I would absolutely love to do something like that and make overly complicated systems in the car, like doing fiber optics like some modern cars have, to take signals around and making like a signal bus for everything you see. Bother, what are you talking about? It's totally impossible. You can't really do that. It's going to take you years. And the thing is, like, I have done that. I did that with the steering wheel project. I did LIN-bus stuff, and we totally took over a Bluetooth low energy modem in order to make my own things, right? This is what I do. So it would be absolutely amazing to one day get that kind of. It's your favorite car? Yeah, mine too. I like it. It's just like a spaceship. I don't know, something about it, and it's utilitarian, just two-seater with a motor on it, right? I love that. But more than that, I like that it's not considered to be really a Porsche or an Audi. It's somewhere in between, and people generally don't like it. A lot of the hate for the 944 generally stems from the fact that they relied on an Audi motor that had a timing belt instead of a timing chain, and it was an interference motor. So eventually, if you neglected the timing belt replacement, and since, obviously you are a German consumer buying this car, it is impossible to not follow the rules. It is just not possible to miss that timing belt interval. But if you're anybody else, and you're a negligent idiot like the rest of us, you will not change that timing belt exactly at the interval, because that's fine, you'll be all right. And then it blows up, and your car blows up, and your engine grenades. So I don't know what's happening anymore with them. I think people probably, the grenading engine would be the last straw, and then they just get rid of it. But it's possible to find one with either a blown motor. I found the perfect one, the one that I want to buy again, which is one with a blown motor, and it's burgundy. I like that color. I think it's sort of a less stated red. I don't need it to be bright red. Yellow is neat, but it's too flashy. Blue, I would be okay with, but the burgundy red is something that I really like. But yeah, I would love to be able to find another one of those. That would be amazing. I do not have room. But the availability of the Tesla drivetrain is like amazing, and people have hacked them now. I've seen several YouTube channels that I pine after. I absolutely just pine after them, looking at, that level of reverse engineering, and possibly even getting into it with CAN bus on my own would be fascinating to do, because the signals are known. They know how to do that now. It would be it would push me a little bit though. But doing like a resto mod like that would be kind of amazing. I mean, electric cars are a thing now, right? They're perfectly viable. I could daily drive something that was electric on that level. And I don't think it would leave me high and dry very much, aside from the fact that maybe sourcing the battery for it would be a little bit dodgy. You would be dealing with, hopefully, a car that got into a wreck with a perfectly viable battery. But then again, those are hard to find for a decent price. It might be more prudent, if I do go down this road, which I plan to someday, is just buy a Tesla. I don't know which model precisely would have the right motors in it, and if it was all-wheel drive, then I'd have to invent some kind of a spindle for the front for the McPherson struts that the 944 has at the moment. 944 has McPherson struts and just a regular old steering rack. You can actually find a manual steering rack for it, which means parallel parking, you have to put a little bit of muscle into it to get those wheels to move. But as soon as you're moving, the ratios are like perfect and there's a lot of feedback. Or you can go with the modern thing, which is an electric rack, which would probably translate just fine, and you could probably set it to different settings. I have watched YouTubers do it and gloss over all of the difficulties. Dream Truck is VW Rabbit pickup. Those are awesome. Those are very cool. What were those called? Those were rabbits, weren't they? There was a fox, wasn't there? Or is that? No, I think it's a fox. It's not Fox Body. That's Mustang. You could try to fit a Tesla semi-drive into it. It's the small drive unit is like the size of the transaxle for the 944. But the thing about the 944 is, for insurance reasons, it was built as a 2+2. So it has 2 seats for full-grown adults and then 2 seats for miniature little tiny people in the back. They're just little buckets. And while you can sit in it, because I used to own a 944, I never drove it. While it was working. I love that car and I sold it. I can't, I hate me. Anyway, the back had 2 like buckets where people could seat. People could sit. They would have to be like little like Smurfs to fit back there. What I could do is cut out that whole section and put the firewall a little closer. This would be a major undertaking. It would not be easy to do, I'm sure. But move it a little closer and use that space for batteries. So then you have, if you do all-wheel drive, which would be insane, you could have basically the front and back axles. You want all your weight inside of that because that's good for stability. You don't want to have weight swinging over the back end like a Porsche does. You would have your 2 axles, the 2 drive motors, and then the batteries and the people would all be inside of those axles. So it might make it even more stable for a car that looks like an electric Razor. Think I'm gonna make an RC car? That's listen, as an outlet for doing crazy car like jobs and stuff, this is a good redirect. This will keep you distracted for just a little bit. I love being a giant man baby and playing around with little RC cars. It's fun to me because you can do all those car things without having to worry about all of the exacting nature and deathly negligence of actual car work. You do, I just kind of like put the tires on. You can't do that with real cars. You have to go get them balanced, otherwise you're gonna on the road. But you do it here and it's fine. And you get to move on and actually race around the RC car. I need to get this thing back out. I'm trying to get a top speed. This is one of those GPS speedometers. I don't know if I should have bought this one. This one's a little bit much, but I took the cover off of it, which was probably a mistake. But it fits nestled up into the body. And so with the gyro stabilizing this thing, I want to see how fast this goes. Without the gyro, I got up to 35 miles per hour, which is kind of crazy for a little tiny, 126 scale RC car. There is, from some free cycle thing that my buddy dropped off here, I have a tool bin that's sitting behind this desk that has a 1/10 road car in it with a brush DC motor. I could replace that with a 3-phase, and the problem is that stuff gets really expensive. That's like, I could sink $200 into that frame, and I would have a 1/10 scale RC car that could probably go 100 miles an hour. But I don't want to slide down that slide because that's an expensive slide to slide down. We have people getting air conditioners in my Discord. Wait, was that 2 Discord windows? Wait, what's going on? Weird. Yeah, this computer desperately needs a restart. If you guys see like 1 frame stuttering, that's my computer. It's not you. RC gets a money dump real fast. The 1/28 scale, this is like death by $1,020 cuts. Whereas when you move over to the 1/10 scale, it's death by $1,040 cuts. So you have to choose the size of the blade that's eventually going to flay you. So does mechanical keyboards are a death by $10 cuts. Although being a cheapskate and going on Amazon and finding like keycaps that are exactly like the expensive ones, the double shot whatever type of plastic that is in gray was an absolute godsend. I got to get keys on my mechanical keyboard that I really liked. Our mechanical keyboard PCB project, most of my PCB projects are on sort of, they're in a bit of a hold because they are boring and complicated to work on right now. There's a lot of parts editing that I have to do, and import expense. The Seed Studio and the what was it? Not PCB Way. If I could get a sponsor from PCB Way, maybe I'd work on some of those things. But getting these little buggers into the States is going to get kind of harrowing. And so I've got to put some of these guys on hold. Like there's a minor edit to this one that I think I'm just going to have to eat. And I want to make a couple VCOs for the rack, but we have to do a little like patching on the circuit board in order to make that happen. So some of those projects I've sort of pushed to the wayside. We really need to do Burn the Subs though. That's the big one. Mine was $200. It's silly. A cheap 1/10 RC car is fun. And what is it? Wheelie Yellow. Wheelie Yellow is a YouTube puppet travel blog that uses an RC van, and the invention of the RC van is so cool because he just works with, Wheelie Yellow is just beyond. Works with beer cans, popsicle sticks, and hot glue in order to make a van body on a cheap, it's like a $60, I think, RC car chassis. I found a YouTube video where the guy figured out what chassis it was. But then the videographying of that is just spectacular. Getting these sort of action shots where there's just a lot moving and things are rattling around, and it gets all the different clips that it cuts together so that it looks coherent. That is professional editing going on. And the way they get the video of the van, they swerve it so that the body is, moving all independent from the suspension. That composition and just the overall presentation of that channel is absolutely beyond professional. It's incredible. Wheelie Yellow is the name. Wheelie Yellow. It's all one word. But the text, there was somebody typed it out for me. And it's fantastic. There are stateside companies that are starting, you said starting, to make PCBs, but I don't think they can compare price-wise. They have existed for some time, and I've tried some of them, and I've liked them. I just have not used them because the ones overseas are like super good. And so the ones at the States they may be catching up in some places. Like this is a Seed Studio, so the silk screen, when it gets particularly small, can get a little bit buzzy. But it's because these were the ones that I'd been ordering. I know sort of the tricks to making a really good PCB with Seed Studio. We did try some other like PCB makers, and they were fine. The other one is the Flexi PCBs. I forget who did that. I don't think it was PCB Way, but like Flexi PCBs are typically ridiculously expensive. They are like $400, $500 for them just to set up making your PCB. They did some batch processes. One of these companies did batch processes so that they could pull the price all the way down to the same as the $5 for 5 PCBs. So they had incredible prices that were comparative on Flexi PCBs. What that would mean is that if I did do the motor controller project, and if I had all the time in the world and to be a giant man baby, and I was able to act, JLC, thank you. That's JLC that does the Flexis. If I had the time to put together my custom 3-phase motor controller PCB, to put together the keyboard PCB, all that stuff can exist on a Flexi PCB and be ultralight. So if we really wanted to go down that road, and I really wanted to flex my AutoCAD sponsorship, which maybe I should talk to the guy, the sponsorship guy, and see if they'll, pay me a little bit extra if I do something truly awesome with Fusion 360. Because Fusion 360, if you buy the right licenses, you have to spend money for this. You can get generative design, or whatever they call it, generative design. So I could point out all of the forces and all of the fixed things that would need to exist on, for instance, an RC car, and I could have it make the lightest possible, like, spider web body for it, and then I could use Flexi PCBs and all their lightness to put all the electronics and radio stuff inside of it, and I could have the lightest possible RC road car, and then I could drive it around in a video, and it would hit a curb and fucking explode, because the super light means super fragile, and it would be just this spider web car that would just go, and then little bits of plastic would get everywhere. I think that would be awesome. Anyway, like I was saying, yeah, RC cars definitely scratch the itch for a little bit in terms of the crazy car stuff that I want to do. The crazy car stuff that I would love to do. I mean, geez, if you could, and I've worked with it quite a bit, but an ABS system, if I could find a minimalistic ABS system, because you would, if I'm putting like my own custom electronics around the car, I could put some accelerometers on each board, and then you would have multiple points of accelerometer on the car, so you could see whether or not the twisty of the car matched the steering angle. And I'd probably need to do a little bit of testing to like get a feel for that, and you know, really flex my control systems in order to make it so that an ABS system would function on a custom car. That would be crazy, and I would love to do it. And then it would malfunction and I'd die. But it would be a glorious warrior's death. How'd Bother die? I thought he was streaming. Yeah, he made his own custom control system for his ABS, and he was showing it off on stream, and he went directly into a tanker truck filled with milk. He survived. He just choked on a raisin afterwards. To death. See what I mean? You activate the rant. You just talk about like car stuff around me, and that gets me on like a 6.5 hour rant about stuff. But I guess that's why I work with streaming. That's why I work on this platform, is because I can just fill the air, because I'm a car guy, and car guys can talk about car guys stuff until the end of the universe. I watch when my friends get together, I look at their wives, and their wives' expressions glaze. They just go, and they're just disassociated. They'll eventually form up their own group and start talking about normal people stuff, while the car guys are still talking about like the intricacies of oil. It's oil. You're driving a BMW. It's one of the most mass-produced cars in the world. It just needs oil. Just as long as there's oil there, you're fine. You don't need to get too deep into formulations and stuff. We are car nerds. I know, and it's unfortunately not curable. We try though. No, like the car stuff that I love doing is not 250 mile, $250 car rally. Can't really do that anymore. Scrap prices have gone way up. The budget has to probably change in accordance. It's not 2001 anymore. But in 2002-ish, 3-ish, 4-ish, I went on this road rally that brought us from Staten Island, New York, all the way down to Bourbon Street, New Orleans, in cars that cost no more than $250, which is barely over scrap. But the thing is, you could get a pretty viable car back then for that price. That was before a lot of like the K-car, like whatever, the buyback programs and stuff like that. That was actually just on the cusp of the buyback programs. An error occurred. Please try again later. I'm presuming that I'm actually live on YouTube. Hold on, I'm going to refresh the page just to check. But anyway, we did a couple of those rallies successfully. Yeah, and I've done Lemons races. The one thing I haven't done is the 2009 challenge or the 2000X. I guess they're up to $2,025 challenge, where you do the promenade, you do the autocross promenade drag race. I forget what the promenade is called. I'm just calling it that. That's a weird name. That's about what I paid for my 95 Corolla. Yeah. So the whole thing was, you could buy a car for that amount of money, and you could buy a pretty decent car. And there were some teams that just didn't get it, and they would buy something like an Audi, like a nice Audi, to do the rally in. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to buy a car that scares the pants off of you. And one person got this amazingly right the year before I went, where they took a Honda that had been in a the Honda had back shots. No, wait, the Honda got into a rear end accident. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. And the whole back of the car was just crumpled up. So they got rid of it, and they put one wheel. They welded a whole structure to the back of the Honda, and it had one wheel in the back. And then they managed to get that registered as a car, and took it on this rally across America. It's insane. The rally would also do like challenges along the way, but the point is, you take the most terrible thing that you can possibly manage to take. If you're not a car person, there are enough car persons on this rally that they will get you going and get you running. You take something that's interesting and unique, weird, or completely and utterly irresponsible, and when you break down, that's it. You fly home, or you fly to Bourbon Street and wait for everybody to get there. It is a rolling tailgate party from start to finish. I had a lot of fun on those. Those were great. Met a lot of lifelong friends there too. What happened? Someone got rear-ended. No. This was for a motorsports event that went down the continental United States. I went Bourbon Street, no, Staten Island to Bourbon Street. I was trying to say my brain, Long Island. I'm about to say Long Island. I have to stop myself. No, wrong one. Staten Island. Staten Island all the way to Bourbon Street on like back country roads, getting to know that area of America from cheap motel to cheap motel, and doing weird little challenges along the way. It was a very fun thing. But doing the trifecta is doing Lemons, the BABE rally, which is what I just described, and then doing the Grassroots Motorsports Challenge. And a buddy of mine built a Wartburg. I helped him build it. The Wartburg, as far as trivia goes, the Wartburg's front sway bar was from my 944. It miraculously fit this weird car, this Wartburg, perfectly. And you can find articles on that thing, but that thing was a crazy car. When I was a kid, all of our old cars went to the demolition derby every year. That sounds fun. The Scandinavians got it right, where they take the old car and you enter into a rally race where you have to be ready for an actual, you have to turn it into a race car, which means pulling everything, all the interior, anything that's like nice out of the car and putting in like a roll cage and stuff like that so you don't die. And then hooning it around on the Scandinavian roads. This is actually on Finnish roads. And then after the race, everybody goes, wow, that's a nice car. I will buy it for $200, and you have to sell it to them. I love that concept. That is just that is Valhalla for your road car. I do have a Lemons sitting in the driveway. I've only done support crew for Lemons, but when we had the Wartburg going, that thing had a Subaru motor in it, and we had to do a main seal on it. What is it called again? Streaming ruins you, man. Memory recall studies are saying that Americans are getting worse and worse at that sort of thing. And boy, if you take streaming into it as well, it's like, that's just certifiable brain damage. And suddenly I can't. Anyway, the main gasket, the head gasket on a Subaru is an evil thing because it's a flat set of cylinders. You have to do this sort of pentagram pattern on the bolts, tighten them, loosen them, tighten them again. And so I was sitting there with the manual. The engineer was sitting there with the manual, telling the person who was our best mechanic, he was a military vehicle mechanic, what the sequence was while he went through it. The judges would go around the paddock after the race because they have to do it in 2 nights instead of doing like a full Le Mans because people die for racing 24 hours. Like they had to do that. And so the judges were walking around and we're sitting here with our head gasket completely disassembled. And they're like, are you guys going to be okay for tomorrow? And we, of course, playing it cool because we all huddled up before the judges got to us and said, look, just play it cool. Play it cool. I mean, we know what we're doing and we're crazy, but we also you want to make sure to play it cool. And so the judges came around and we were just sitting in lawn chairs, having some beers, tinkering around with the motor that was completely disassembled in front of our car. And they were like, are you guys racing tomorrow? What's going on? And we're like, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. And we actually managed that night, pulling, I don't know how late we were up. We didn't see the sun. No, we might have saw the sun come up during that, but we got the entire motor back together and we got the car back out. We actually won the real 24 Hours of Lemons award, which is the mechanic award that they have. They have a whole trophy for it. That is the real one. Because 24 Hours of Lemons is all about keeping these crappy cars running for a 24-hour race. And we managed to keep a Subaru motored 50-something Wartburg with a literal, clothing rod, the rod you have in your closet that holds up all of the coat hangers. We had coat hanger rods bringing coolant to the front of the car because the Subaru motor was in the back. And so there were like dips in the coolant and would come back. It was like, my buddy spent a long time getting rid of bubbles in that system. And it's like an impossible, we could not touch that system or else we would be murdered. I didn't end up driving the car though. Apparently it was a very claustrophobic experience. I do have a lemon sitting in the driveway. It's an '08 Pontiac GA6. Oh, neato. With stuff floating in the oil. Oh, when you go to change the oil on the car you just bought and it's a starry night. Sounds fun. It was. I got heat stroke. I didn't even recognize the symptoms too. That was one of the first times because this was before I did a bunch of festival stuff over the summer, like working at festivals with a buddy of mine. Actually, the FK Productions, who joins every now and then. But anyway, before that, I did Lemons and Babe Rally and stuff. The car guys that I was with, they were like, "You need to get in the trailer right now and sit around and drink some water." And I'm like, "Why?" Like, you're pale. You're not thinking straight. Get in there. And so I got in there, and all of a sudden you feel like a weird relief come over you. You sit there for a little bit, you know, like there's nothing wrong. It's kind of chilly in here, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, oh my God, I work again, which is heat stroke. I wasn't able to identify it. Sister bought a lemon VW Rabbit a few years ago that we couldn't keep running. Put almost $1,500 into the engine. Oof. That from what year? Because that'll give me an idea, like what generation? Mark II, Mark IV? I don't remember a ton. All I remember about the Mark IV was that it was pretty ridiculous to work on. At one point, we had, instead of putting it into the service position, which is where the whole front of the car pivots out, and you have to like disconnect the coolant lines and stuff. I didn't want to do that, so I ended up doing a timing belt change without that. And at one point, I had the motor released of its mounts on a floor jack, and I would jack the motor up, do a quarter turn on the bolt, let the motor down, do another quarter turn on the bolt, up, quarter turn, down, quarter turn, up, blah, 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 until I finally tightened that bolt. It was bad. You have to like hug the motor in order to get to some stuff. Yes, sure, yes, sure. One of these days, I will be sitting outside of an auto shop in a folding chair with a beer in my hand, and I'll be all gray at that point, and I'll just talk about things that nobody can really comprehend. I'll just relive all of these weird memories of doing strange stuff that I have. Hey, I remember Babe car had a Billy the Big Mouth Bass on the side of it. They just glued anything to that car back then. The car that looked like it rolled down a hill. I tell you about the Billy the Big Mouth Bass. They hooked it up to 12 volts and it runs on 6. So it would do its little routine and then it would pivot out and it would look at you and the mouth would open and then it would go, ah! Scariest thing I ever done see. That actually was a thing. They did that. They had a candelabra on the side of their car too. It was all this kitschy electric stuff that they pretty much just drilled a hole into the car body because on their farm they bought this car and then they rolled it down a hill to get it all wrinkled up, and then they would drill a hole in the side and just mount whatever they could find to the side of the car. It was an amazing entry. Mark IV looking, it might have been Mark III. I'm not totally familiar with the Mark III, but I know the Mark IIIs had the fuel distribution of death device on it, which was something to do with injection or whatever, fuel something. And it was just this cluster of tubes that you'd basically hit with a hammer until it would start working or not. They were notorious for that thing, and that's probably, I'm guessing that's probably why you had so much trouble keeping the stupid thing running. All right, we should get started. We don't have a ton to do with the light bulb, but we do have a ton to do with the Raspberry Pi, and it scares me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade out the music for the YouTubers. Not the sorry, the YouTubers can't hear it. Only the Twitch people can hear this music, which is weird. I guess I could gaslight them and be like, I'm not playing any music. What are you guys talking about? But anyway, I'm going to gradually fade it out until it's gone. Hit pause. You guys could probably never hear it anyway. Nice trim. Thank you. Yes, I got the weight of my head reduced significantly, and no longer is my hair wet 2 hours after showering. That was the crazy part, is that I'd have to wait a long time because I you know, lather, rinse, repeat. I had to shampoo twice with all that hair, and then I comb it straight back and let it dry. That's usually the way you do. When I do it with this, it dries in half an hour, but with the long hair, it took way longer than that. My hair's way too thick for that hairstyle that I had. It's still a little mullety in the back. I don't know if I could have gotten a little bit more done in the back, but I wanted to keep some length on it. And I think it works out. My head is a lot lighter. I feel the burden of not cutting my hair lifted, and I feel slightly more awake, which is a weird psychological thing that happens with me in haircuts. I also trimmed the beard back so I wasn't as scraggled. So anyway, what are we working on today? Well, first of all, we're getting rid of the start soon because that scares the Twitch viewers. Don't. It's like tapping on the glass at a zoo. Like, you don't want to do that. The start soon, they see that and they go, oh, and it's bad for them. Anyway, what are we doing today? Jeez, I don't even know. Boy, do I have a lot of things to do, and I should be doing them. But I'm not fighting burnout. I am burning out. I will handle myself at some point. I may take a break and do some maintenance stuff with like redesigning the rack and things like that. How much of your power are you using to power the beard? It's like a Samson situation where if it's gone, then I've lost all of my power, and you guys will see like a double chin and everybody will run. Anyway, so the things that I'm doing right now, I feel that the things that I'm doing right now, we're crawling back to having Burn the Subs working because the channel really, to be honest, those of you that are still around here are a kindness to me. You've gone above and beyond the Call of Duty to actually support the stream, and you don't have to, because without Burn the Subs, I don't have my niche. I don't have the thing that separates me from all the other creators on Twitch. I mean, I've noticed that my identity is sort of that guy who does like real engineering projects, but in doing so and taking up that mantle, I also am the guy who never gets anything done, and our streams are sort of this nebula of sort of running into problems. So hiding the double chin is the beard's most important job. I have a very good chin line. I had a really good jawline. Some of you have seen the picture. The beard is not my fat guy chin. It's not. But I could use I'm due to lose about 100 pounds. So we'll get there. Anyway, in the meantime, we got to work on projects, and the projects that I would like to do are little tiny pieces of Burn the Subs, little tiny little nibbles of Burn the Subs, little Burn the Subs, and so we can sort of put one foot in front of the other and just gradually make our way back to having my niche, to having my cool thing on my stream, which is the blue laser burning Farpy McPoopbutt's name onto a block of fine wood, and it'll look very fancy and have very sort of lowbrow humor. That's what it's all about. Again, most of my intro, if you rewind to the intro, I am reminiscing about all the weird projects that I got into post college and up to the current date, and they are all expressly very weird. I love doing weird stuff. So we got to get back to this weird thing on our channel, the thing that'll bring you guys into the fray and make things cool again. And it will in due time be done, I promise. I'm new. What kind of stuff do you make? Oh man, you can just see in the background all of the weird shit that I have going on. Just even going from all kinds of strange tools, a 3D printer, a block of wood mounted on the wall with some kind of a lighting thing on it, a keyboard sitting on a modular synthesizer, a milling machine, a microscope camera, screws, and dick butt. That should give you a pretty good idea of what goes on around here. So do we start with scorch the subs and work our way up to burning the subs? No, that's boil the subs. We start at a low temperature and eventually you're boiling the subs. That, by the way, the fart noises you hear are in the real world. They're not electronically produced in some kind of a plugin. I have this thing sitting here. This is a dollar store fart noise maker that I've mounted inside of an enclosure, and I've hooked a speaker up to, and then I hooked it up to the Twitch API. So a lot of the stuff we do here involves stuff like the Twitch API. The Twitch API being a way that I can allow all of the people watching to do weird stuff to my channel. Scratch the subs. No. We've already had 2 Burn the Subs boards. The brew fridge, yeah, that's sitting all the way back there. That was a fun one. I have not had that working for a little while. I need to actually go back to the brew fridge, and I need to get the brew pie like system running again so that it can actually run that thing as a refrigerator. I don't have the controller for BrewPi running anymore. Or sorry, Fermentrack it's called. And I guess there's an update to Fermentrack that I kind of slept on, so I don't really know what's going on with it. If you pub the subs in the water, then gradually increase the heat, they won't notice being boiled. Yep, this is how the saying goes. So anyway, what are we doing right now? Well, we're trying to ensure that the system which holds all of my stuff and all of my project data and runs all of these interactive things in the shop that turn on and off lights that allow you guys to converse with me and have real things actually function. I want to kind of ensure that everything's okay on that server at all times. The thing is, like, when you buy, you burn the subs as boards? No, I have the 2 boards saved. They're actually a backdrop to my gaming computer. So maybe one day I'll do a gaming stream again and we can have cameras trained on that desk, and you guys can see that I still have the two big wide boards, and they're mounted on a thing like a stand right now. They're very fancy. I should probably have them as like a side panel to my desk instead of a back panel, because the back panel is covered by the monitors. You look at the computer monitor, it's huge, 27-inch panel, it's like giant. And so you're not seeing what's behind it. So I should put them on the side. That way I've got all of the usernames to the side of me. And then when I do gaming streams, I can put the camera on that. So it's my profile, and then it's just usernames behind me. That would be kind of cool. Anyway, the point is, we're crawling our way back to Burn the Subs. Burn the Subs is running off of the Twitch API. All of the Twitch API stuff that I have running in this shop runs off of Node-RED. Node-RED is a very nice, easy way to put together these flows of functionality, and you can have Internet of Things on your Node-RED system. I have specifically Tasmota lights. We're going to Tasmotize a RGBW bulb, and I will turn that into a system, a flow on Node-RED that will check the status of the file server by looking at the alerts tab. It will look at the alerts, and depending on the nature of the alerts, it'll change color and let me know in the physical world whether or not something is wrong with my server. Currently, because it is a DIY file server, it does not have any system by which to illuminate drive statuses on its front panel. So we made the Ideal Light, which was sort of the prototype for this. The Ideal Light has a couple different functions. It'll do a couple different kinds of alerts depending on if someone subscribes, or if somebody says idea in the chat, or if it's a gift sub. If it's a gift sub, it lights up purple for Twitch. If somebody says idea, it lights up yellow. That's sort of the functionality. And I did that all with Node-RED and the Twitch API. That's what this is all the way up here. This is all the Node-RED flows that control things in the shop. So during start soon, it checks to see if the stream is starting soon. And if it is, then we do this sort of petulant expansion of one of the scenes in OBS. If they raid, the light turns purple. If there's a sub or a gift, depending on which one it is, it'll change colors. If it's a channel point redeem, we trigger a fart and we use an MQTT thing for that. So these are very simple flows. They do a very simple thing. The reason that they sort of double back on themselves is that if I'm illuminating an alert, I want it to turn on and then turn off. So I have a little delay built into it, and then it sends an off command, and the filter just ensures that we don't get the same command multiple times into the same light. Technically, I should probably draw these all together with their own filter and then put only one instance of the bulb 2 flow, but there's a lot is going on with this bulb, so I've kind of split it up. But that's sort of the idea of how I'm controlling things with Node-RED. And so when we do an HTTP request for the file server, we are passing it an API key. Oh, that was a gift sub. Incredible Mike, and that one went to Trey Pop, who's also a fairly common viewer. You guys probably can't hear it in the background, but there's a lot of barking going on. I hear the frou-frou dog that lives up the street barking, and Willow is barking in kind. All I hear is barking all day. Willow is a very vocal corgi. She is a baritone, much like myself. Actually, she's probably soprano, but for a girl dog, she has a deep voice. And so that's good, because when she barks, it is a little bit less like harsh. The boy corgi that lives across the street has a much higher pitched bark, and it actually cuts through stuff a lot more. Whereas Willow's a sort of a lower note. Yeah, Trey Pop, thanks to Incredimike. Thank you for the gift sub. We saw this thing go purple. Start wearing purple. Okay, so what are these? Sawn off? No, Singled. Don't necessarily go out and do what I did, because the Singled LEDs are actually kind of tough to Tasmotize. I barely looked up whether or not they were Tasmotizable, and it said they were, but what you need to do is pull out the entire circuit board in order to do it. And there's like this elastic that holds the PCBs in there that we need to get rid of now. They are pretty easy to Tasmotize once you get into them, because the Tasmotization relies on just having a TX-RX to throw a bootloader onto what is essentially an 8266 or a whatever it is, you know, the Wi-Fi microcontroller. Or whatever cheap alternative there is to that. So that's generally what you do with the Tasmotizing. There are some products that you can wirelessly Tasmotize. You need to have like a Linux system, like on a Raspberry Pi, but generally it's pretty easy to do. But what I decided to do was buy these Singleds, and so we have to disassemble the light. Lucky for us, most of the connections to like the AC input is just 2 press fit connections on wires. So we can put this back together pretty easily. You just have to figure out a way to grip this and rip it off. That's the tough part. I'll leave that to your own intentions. You probably should just look up one of these things that you can wirelessly get into. There's tutorials online on how to do it, and yeah, it's pretty easy after that. Or, I mean, you could even go down the road of learning how to program the chip itself with something Arduino flavored and completely take it over. But for us, it's just nice and easy for us to go in here and edit them this way. There's still a command that I forget that we did on this thing. It somehow, what did it do? It like released the different modes or something like that on this. We have to go into the Tasmota console and enter in some kind of a parameter in order to get access to everything. Yeah, ESP Home would be the other way to do it. There's some other ways too. I don't know them. But Tasmota was the one that my viewers told me to do. So we Tasmotized everything. It worked out pretty good. So there's elastic around the circuit board. This circuit board just holds all the LEDs. Yeah, some people like the Zigbee because it's not on Wi-Fi. Your devices don't have to get on Wi-Fi. For me, I in the router, I specified IP address ranges to fix the IP addresses of all of my home things. So all my home things exist in sort of the same pool of IP addresses. So they're easy to find because these have a web interface on them too. You can just open up a browser to your own little, you know, whatever it is, WAN, and get into the individual devices if you need to. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to skin this cat, and then you've got to deal with that. You like, why are you skinning cats, you monster? This is just the one that I decided to do. Tasmotizing things is nice and easy, and it's what Chad originally suggested for me. I think I can pull with this pin tool. Eventually, this pin tool is going to break, and I'm going to have to find another one like it. This has been one of the more useful tools in the shop for just generally for streaming, because if I need to point to something, I've got this nice little pointer here on it. If I need to pull something, I can pull with that little the hook that it's created. I don't know where I got this from. This may have been inherited from the FBI's technical center. I think we're over the statute of limitations for that petty theft. So, and I found one on Amazon, but I don't know if the quality would be quite the same. But probably want your own subnet for IoT. I mean, yeah, I probably want to buy it like its own router and make it 192.186.3, but this is fine for now. I have a limited number of devices that I actually have in here, so, and especially if you're starting out with this kind of stuff, like keeping it simple is pretty important. Ah, there we go. That's all I need to do. Push from behind. Of course, that bent this connector, which is bad. Oh, I see. It just unplugged it a little. Okay, that's fine. Everything's good. So here's the thing with these. We got this little challenge here with these sawn-off things, and it's that we've got a giant capacitor is sitting right in the path of all of those little contacts. There's all the heatsink goop that's on this thing in order to cool off the MOSFETs. But over here, we have this huge capacitor that's sitting right in the way. So we need to unsolder the big cap, which means putting my soldering iron across these two. Or, and as I've done it traditionally, removing the solder here and just having this whole piece remove in order to program it. 10 dot? Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess you could change it like that. Isn't that reserved for something, though, in the grand scheme of IT stuff? No, for me, they're on my little subnet. My subnet is .2. And in .2, all of these single-digit IP addresses are all of the IoT things. So if I'm looking for my lamp, I just go to 192.168.2.10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and eventually I'll find the thing that I'm looking for. Nice and easy. I could remove the capacitor, I could remove the whole modem. I don't know which one I want to do. Let's pull the cap on this one. Or, yeah, because removing the modem is a lot of contacts, and you've got to kind of like pile the solder back on to get them to... 10.x is reserved. It was specifically for commercial usage. Huh. 10 is for private, 172.16.31.2, as well as 196.168. Everybody does 196.168. I guess that's the consumer one, huh? All that stuff they built in for all these purposes that they never really communicated to people outside of IT. Why do we use 192.168? Because it's familiar? I don't know. All right, big soldering iron, meet little capacitor. This should be cooperative. I'll add a little bit of solder just to kind of freshen it up. What are you guys talking about? You've gone off the rails. Yeah, if I were ever to do the car project that I want to do weight savings via fiber optic devices. I think that would be hilarious. Because if you're going in and doing like a resto mod on something, it would be very nice to convert all of these signals to LEDs so that you don't have to worry about getting a proprietary lamp. And if your LED light fails, then so be it. I mean, conformal coating is a thing that you can buy and you can just use on electronics in a car. So I could get PCBs made that would carry all of the LEDs, and then in order to have the LEDs function, you probably want some kind of a local microcontroller that could do some kind of a check to see whether or not the lights are okay, and then relay that information to some other computer, kind of in the way that they do it in modern cars nowadays. The ABS sensor for my BMW, I accidentally bought a newer ABS sensor, and when we were testing it, we found out that when it powers up, when it first powers up, it actually sends a digital signal on the power line in order to relay that it's working properly. It's actually, no, on the signal line. On the signal line, it actually does a little 110, 110 kind of thing in order to relay back to the computer that's turning it on that it functions properly. And since it's a safety device, I guess that's sort of a nice thing to have. So if you were gonna resto mod lighting on like a car, I would make a PCB that would carry the LEDs on it and then have some kind of a microcontroller capable of doing a self-check and relaying that information back to some kind of a central thing. That's the way that I think about doing a resto mod. It's a little bit extra. It's a lot of bit extra, actually. But it would be really, really fun to put together. I mean, the iron tip, this is what you do with soldering irons. I mean, it'll eventually get rough, which is why I have the dry sponge. So it looks like this right now. A little bit cranky, but then again, this is a high-powered tip, so this is really for melting. But if I just wipe it up against that, it cleans it up a little bit. If I need to go any further, I can actually dunk it in soldering iron cleaner, which is probably not something that people use nowadays because it's an old Radio Shack thing that's filled with just the worst chemicals ever. And this is a rough thing that can restore the tinned tip of my iron. It's It's sort of a little bit of an abrasive that you kind of melt with the tip. And then clean it. Let's see if I did anything. And if push really comes to shove, you can resurface the entire iron. But this is enough for the jobs that I do. It doesn't need to be perfect. Yeah, that did a little bit of restoration, but not as much as I would have wanted it to. I may need to take a file to the tip of the iron and clean it up with that. But these chemicals, I don't even know what they are. See warning on back of card. Custom mix. Ugh. It's described in an RFC 1918 address allocation for private internet from February of 1996. Huh. I mean, but the modem will the router will let you do weird stuff with the IP address, right? It just lets you do whatever. You can use whatever numbers you want. Use agreed upon numbers because they're known and people will know where things are then. You don't need to like write it down. You can get cleaner goop from China. It's probably worse than what's in Radio Shack. Potentially, I don't know. I mean, the one that I have is literally from the 90s. It could be filled with anything. I've never had to repurchase that. All right, this is the smaller tip. This is just going to make sure that I can get into where I need to get into and solder the right wires to the right things. This is probably bent close to where it would be bent if I were to solder it onto the thing. I'm assuming that the bends in these wires reflect the things that I need to solder to pretty well. But I can't trust it, and so we need to do TX, RX, power, and ground on this little guy. I wonder if I can stand it up with the vise. We've done this before. I'm doing it again. It's the same thing over again. If anybody happens to remember what the console command that we had to put in was, I would love to know what that command is, because I don't remember. It did something to like open up the frequency, or no, not the frequency, open up the pins, I think, for the configuration. Or it allowed us, what were we doing? We were allowing for the hue control and the color control. So I'll have to just look up the commands. I'll remember what I'm doing when I get back to that step. It's just that one little extra step. Oh, and then we also need to solder to one of the jumpers to put it into programming mode. You can't use Twitch's public IPs. Yeah, those okay. Those are special. TX, RX, 3 volts. And then, what are you? Is that on ground? Yeah, ground is in there. TXRX 3 volts ground. And then I think it was IO1, but let's look it up. Tasmotize singled bulb. This looks familiar-ish. Not totally, though. Get out of here. This is not what we did. This is probably the easier to do one. RX, TC, V plus ground, and reset. We don't know which one the reset is. Singlet, RGBW with a bunch of parameters there. Tasmoda documentation for how to do that. Ground to IO0. Okay. So IO0 is the one that we want, which is that one. All right, so put solder bubbles on all those. And then we want this programmer. This is the SparkFun Pro Micro programmer. It is basically just an FTDI device that's been broken out. So it's FTDI basic. And so on that we have DTR, green, black, DTR, RXI, TXO, 3v3, CTS, and ground. They were trying to demystify RX and TX. So they have RX in and TX out, which just makes another standard of RX and TX that's just still confusing. 3v3 is actually 5 volts on this one. What are these 5 volt compatible? Is this going to blow it up, or do I need to use a 3 volt? I'm going to switch to the 3 volt one just in case. Even though I think that was the last thing we did with this. I don't really do anything with the Pro Minis anymore, so these kind of just sit around in the lab. It was useful to have 2 of them because I labeled one with 3 volts so that I know that it's 3 volts. I don't have to zoom in and look at the jumper. But these are totally obsolete. I mean, all these microcontrollers nowadays have their own, like, USB as part of the thing, so. And if I selected the proper thing, instead of getting just whatever I could find for cheap, this would have been a lot easier. This email could have been a meeting. Okay, so these are, yeah, so I got 2 ground lines here. Everybody kind of approximately goes to where they need to go. I think what I need to do is reverse this. And so the 2 grounds here crossing over, going to there, sort of informs me where the others should go, I guess. All right, well, let's get to soldering these on. I guess I'll reroute them as needed. So that long one is a ground. Let's try to, I don't have depth of field and I can barely see where I am. Oh, come on, get in there. So, I mean, generally, like, you know, this is the harder way to do it, but it's still pretty easy to do. If you handy like me, and you're good with a soldering iron. But tasmatizing rips this thing away from its parent software, which will typically do weird stuff to spy on you. And maybe just have features that you don't want and aren't cross-compatible with other devices. So you have to get multiple different apps on your phone in order to run multiple different devices for your stuff. It's avoids that being kind of a pain in the butt. Let's actually reverse this whole thing so I can see who's going where. And it's ground, ground. Don't need CTS. 3v3. 3v3 is this one. I probably should have made this into a jig. Because the Sengled ones are really cheap because they're harder to tasmatize. So they're decent light. If I needed to do this to more than 4 devices, I would definitely want to make a jig for the whole thing. Surprised that the insulation isn't getting melted by the heat. Must not be PVC. What do you, huh? Insulation. This stuff is a Celastic. This is a heat transfer goo. It's like some kind of a putty. And then these are wire wrapping wires. These I don't think are the high temperature ones. It might be. I bought some different stuff. What is it? Yeah, the insulation on the wire. Usually I use this stuff, which is 30 gauge wire wrap wire. This stuff melts like you wouldn't believe when creating custom circuits. I think I might have used the repair wire that somebody had me buy. I bought this spool of like higher temperature insulation wire wrap like wire that was specifically for like repairing stuff. And I think that's what I used here and why the soldering iron hasn't torn this stuff to shreds. Okay, next one was, so ground blank, 3v3, TX, then RX. TX out into RX in. So TX out into the receive on this one. So this one's going further. This one goes here. TXO into RXI. Oh wait, did I just do it wrong? No, TXO, TX out into RX. And so RXI into TX. There we go. Okay, now we're ready to flash. Now, do I still have the Tasmatizer on this machine? Oh, you know what? That would be in a download. That would be, let's find it here. I believe it's in my downloads. I do need to clean up computers at some point. Just wipe them. Wipe the computers, start from scratch. Get all my backups onto the file server. It's just literally an exe run. All right, so this is the physical Tasmatizer. This is just a program that uses your programmer at whatever port it's at in order to write the Tasmota firmware onto the microcontroller. So I am going to plug in my little programming dongle, and that'll get recognized as a virtual COM port. Geez, that USB slot is so tight. Wish it was a little bit looser. The one that I use is like my desk relay USB spot. It sits on the desk surface. It's was actually the anchor that Valve sold with their Steam controller. And they had this little anchor for if your computer was under the desk and it didn't quite reach the controller, you could put this on top of the computer. And I just use it as a programming port for things. So this is plugged in, and the FTDI chip is communicating with my computer. And then magically over here we have refresh. COM9. I guess it's COM9. All right. So we're COM9. I'm going to plug into this thing. So that ground is all the way on the one end. Yep. All right. Plugged in. Then we need to configure this thing. So I need to give it, let's see, erase before flashing. I don't need to save the original firmware. I could point it at a release. Which one do we have it on? Tasmota. Well, we also have a bin file, tasmota.bin, in the downloads folder. System, it took me to system 32. Okay. Downloads. There's tasmota.bin. And then we need to give it its settings, don't we? Okay, I guess we just tasmotize and then we can send the config later. So tasmotize. TX and RX are doing their thing. It has erased it. It's now writing it. Writing. Tasmotizing. I mean, also the advantage of using Tasmota over the other systems is that you get to say Tasmota a lot. You just get to say that word. Because, you know, sometimes you just want to say Tasmota. Like a lot. 80% done writing. Waiting on the thing. Oh, looks like it's done. Process successful. Power cycle the device. No! First I'm going to send it the configuration. Well, I guess I should power cycle it. So unplug. Plug again. Although I think, do I need to unground that pin? Send config. So the password is dead beef. And the thing is, I'm not totally doxing myself on this thing. Host is 2.220. Topic is bulb 3. This is bulb number 3. Friendly name is bulb 3. Port 1883, singlet RGBW GPIO. We've got that configuration in there. It's got a template. And then that's it. So save that. Configuration sent, 220 bytes, device will restart. Okay, so supposedly we can reassemble our lamp. I mean, the responsible thing to do would be to get rid of that ground wire, power this thing up, and then we can remote into the device before we put it back together. And I guess we should do that. Maybe not, but you use that password somewhere else, or now we know how you create your passwords. I think you should know that Wi-Fi is special because you give it to people who walk into your house. You give people your Wi-Fi, and so no, it does not. I'd not use that password anywhere else. I know a half of a thing about security. That is a public password that almost should not exist. I should just say, hey, I'm a nice guy. I will let anybody who wanders in here use the Wi-Fi. I don't give a shit. Because what is it to me? I'm out in the suburbs. You would have to war drive. Not only would you have to war drive, you would have to literally walk up to this window in order to get my Wi-Fi. You couldn't torture my Wi-Fi out of me. All right, so now with just 3 volts coursing into its veins, let's see if we can actually find the device. So I'm going to open up my router, and I'm going to do that off screen. I do know a thing or two about not showing you guys important stuff that'll, dox me. Sign in with my Asus router account. Now, if you could hear the keyboard keys, you could maybe feed that into an AI and it could figure out what keys I was hitting. I give people a QR code to scan. I love the embroidered QR code. That's one of my favorite things. Tell them to use their own data. They can't. There's like no radio here. We are on the side of a hill and it blocks all the RF that could otherwise get in. All right, so I'm looking in this list for something called Tasmota. Oh, well, that's bulb 2. I'm looking for bulb 3. I don't think I've named it yet, so it's going to be bulb 1. Bulb 1 is the one behind me that does, that does the live status. Octopi. Why is there an Octopi? There should not be an Octopi. Oh, Octopi, yeah, for the printer. Right. That's a MAC address. I don't know what that one's doing. The rest of these are normal. It's not on here. It's not. Router has guest mode. Yeah, I don't want to fool with that crap. I don't. You're a guest in my house. You can be on the normal Wi-Fi. Yeah, we Tasmotized this bulb, and now I'm checking to see Shenzhen Fanten Tech. Who's that? Shenzhen Fanten. Huh, I'll have to figure that one out later. Why is this not? It doesn't appear to be like updating or anything. Hold on, I'm looking at the list of clients that are connected right now. Oh, these bulbs have normal IP addresses. I need to address that at some point. Let's see. I typed dead beef, fallen low. Yeah, I did. I got that right. Yeah, there's some devices that I don't really know here. Shenzhen is a location. That's the joke. Sorry. Your jokes evade me. I'm too stupid for jokes. Where is this thing? Why is it not getting on Wi-Fi? I undid the ground, and it supposedly wrote everything to it just fine. I could look for it on the list of networks and see if it's even just trying to connect. Because maybe the settings didn't go in. Let's just see. I'm going to open up with my phone, look for Wi-Fi devices. See all. Because that'll show up as a Tasmota. Yeah, there it is. All right, so I'm going to connect to a Tasmota device through my phone. I guess the settings didn't go in. Wait, can I try to send settings from... Because now we're not in programming mode. So let me reopen the Tasmatizer. Try that. Because, yeah, we're connected. We're on COM9. I can send the config. Make sure I can type this right. Beef, bulb 3, 1883, bulb 3, 2220 host. Template is that. Save. Configuration sent, device will restart. And now I guess I can see. Yeah, the shop Shenzhen, I would not make it out alive. I would not make it out alive. There's no way. Like, to do what Strange Parts did and just build a phone with, you know, Shenzhen stuff, that would kill me. I would die. I would never leave. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't sleep. I would just shrivel up. I don't think the configuration sending is working. Because it's not joining my Wi-Fi, and it couldn't be any simpler to join. Yeah, it would be a glorious death. Yeah, 19 clients. All right, so what I need to do is connect to... Sorry, I was jiggling my microphone. I need to connect with my phone to the Wi-Fi and give it all my configuration stuff. So we're going to look for the network here. Oh, now not even that's showing up. Wait. Oh, you know what? It might have gotten stuck in reset. Let me manually reset it and see if we get a client on my regular Wi-Fi. Because what it does is it wants to reset the microcontroller, and it can't do that from the programming interface. View the client list. 19. Open the logs. Show us the logs. Show us your log, bother. Show me the log. Show me the toilet. Where's the toilet? I ain't showing you logs. You're gonna get all kinds of information from that. All right, so I gotta connect to it as if it's its own Wi-Fi. For some reason, the configuration sender, it like never works. I don't know. I always try it and it never works. So what I need to do is go to Internet, and I need to choose See All. I need to find the thing that says Tasmota on it, which I don't see. What the hell? I see two printers, and I see the Verizon box, and I see my box. Wait. No, that's not the right one. What is that one? Wait a minute. I think that's somebody else's Wi-Fi that I'm also seeing. Hey, little Tasmota device, do you want to, like, give us a chance here? And this one still says 19 clients on the list. Need one more to find bulb number 3. This should have been the easy part. We should have been done this a long time ago. In Bruges? Oh, I remember that movie. I didn't mind it. I don't remember much about the movie, though. You like doing things the hard way. I don't know what logs you think I should be looking for. But I don't think they're going to be too helpful. This is annoying. If the device showed up, if we didn't try the programming that we just did, and the device just showed up on either as a network or as or showing up on the list of networks devices on the router, if it showed up like it did, I could just open it up either on the phone or on the browser and just give it the right config. I don't know why the Tasmatizer didn't send, like whatever it sent didn't stick. I don't know what the deal is with that. Let's just try the network again. Give it a minute to reconcile. Verizon, etc. Okay, so now it's not even showing up as a network. Why would that be? I'll try power cycling it again. I don't know if it would do that. We can check that in a second. I mean, is it like, I don't even have an indicator that's powering on just because maybe the wire broke off. No, the wire's still on. Okay. Wires are still there. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, no, I didn't unsolder a crucial line. And this has just been floating above everybody. So yeah, power and ground are still on there. And they're still getting power and ground through this. So if I wanted to, I guess I could do just using Arduino as a COM port thing. Or I could have opened up WinSCP, I suppose, and done that too. How do you get in through Windows console? I don't remember that. Whatever, this will work just fine. Assuming it boots. Oh my god, so many windows. I was programming for the MIDI device. That we need to do. I think we might do that tomorrow, because that's something where we can sit there and tippity-tappity and actually have stuff that does stuff in the end of the day. And I can start using the stuff that we create. So our Tasmotized device is 1152. We're on COM4 for some reason. Tools port COM9. And 115200. Enter. What the hell does that mean? 1916.19.993 command. Okay, so Tasmota command. Commands. Command index data, the space between index and data. Set networking IP address, the command IP address X. We don't need to, we're not setting the IP address, we're giving it the all the stuff. So, well, wait a minute. So we confirmed that it works. Hold on, let's one sec. If it is communicating serially, then I should be able to see it either as its own Wi-Fi device. I don't need to use this commandy stuff necessarily. So I don't see it as my list of Wi-Fis. Let me just refresh this. That's just the time. I see. Okay. Hold on a sec. We got this. All right. See all my networks. It's going to scan again. So it's not showing up as a Wi-Fi device, probably because the configuration that we send it probably went through, which probably means that it should be in the list of clients. Hit refresh on the list. It still says I only have 20 clients, and I don't see one that's called Bulb3. That is very weird of it to do. It's just not, like, clicking. There is this device, but I don't know what it is. It's just like a MAC address. Yeah, I still have 19 clients. I should have 20 now that this thing is spooling up. It's a good thing we didn't fully reassemble this. All right, so we can send it commands. Let's check. Well, let's see. Backlog status, command list. Control. Let's check. Dev group status? No, that's not what I'm looking for. LED power states on and off. LED state, no delay, power 0. Control the power state simultaneously for all power on device. No. I'm just looking at these commands. I want the configuration commands. Oh, I guess I got to do device name. Device name is Tasmota. Stat bulb 3 result device name Tasmota. What? Friendly name. Bulb 3. Tasmota 2. Tasmota 3. Tasmota 4. Friendly name 6. Friendly name 7. Friendly name 8. Okay. So that's configured. The friendly name is in there. So it did take the configuration. I guess we can, what if I say template? Yeah, so it got our RGBW singlet with flag 0 base 18. I forget what that other command that we sent in was. There was some command that I think it sets up the control. We'll have to figure that one out a little later. Syslog to firmware defaults, log port module. If I just send it IP address, will it spit out the IP address? That was the one all the way at the top. Let's see. It's all backlog. What if just... Oh, 191. Wait. Oh, hello. Singlet RGBW. Wi-Fi. It has glorious PCMR. Okay, it's got all my stuff. So that's all in there. Okay. We can reassemble the bulb because it's got 191. I gotta check over at my my router to see that it's in there because I want to rename it. Yeah, it was here the whole time. It's just my crap, my consumer grade crap is crap. One day I will get better network stuff, you know, like actually figure out what the good stuff is and get the good stuff so that I'm in control of my own network. I use consumer ASUS grade stuff, which is not great. Let's see, where am I going with this? I need to get the other browser window that I had up that had all the stuff on it. What did I just closed it, I think. My anger mounts as things get stupider and stupider. Okay, back into that. Look at the clients list again. 118, 129, 163, 169, 173, then 208. It's not listed in the thing because it's like refusing to refresh, but we could see that it's actually connected to my network just fine. That is so freaking annoying. And then I think we need to reconfigure this stuff. The yeah, this stuff to have the white LED on it. And I forget what the command is that we sent it. I don't remember that. And Short Lurker knew. I don't think I took notes on it either. This one have the IP address on it? No. I should probably label these with the IP address, but let's put the bulb back together because we know everything works now. And maybe I can go through my stream archives sometime and figure out what the hell extra command we sent this thing. But I'll close the router page. We don't need to use it right now. It's got the friendly name bulb3 so that we can put that into Node-RED, and we'll test that in just a second. So what I'll do is reassemble the bulb. So we can unplug this thing and desolder all of our pins. I can put that capacitor back in, and we can continue on route to getting this thing up and running. That part is always a little bit hinky, but hooking up the TX and RX in order to get the console was a really good idea. And I should remember that I do that. That's the best way to do it. because all of my other avenues of figuring out what auto IP address it had failed. Now, in my network, I actually reassign, my router reassigns everybody's IP addresses depending on what they are. So if it is just a regular old like computer or somebody's Wi-Fi device, that'll end up in the randomly assigned pool. But if it's one of my IoT light bulbs or something, that's going to get its own specifically assigned IP address, because when they fight over IPs, things go really weird. If there's like a power outage and everybody comes back up to power at the same time, these things will fight for IP addresses, and oftentimes it'll cause weirdness. And so like certain light bulbs won't really work right. So we just get this capacitor back in, and then we can start reassembling our bulb. I wanted to do this part of the bulb on camera just so that you guys can see the process again, and we can go through some of the parts where I have to like clear all of the warnings and stuff in the device. You know, they're pretty responsible engineering on this thing. One thing that I'll comment on right now is not something they really had to do, or maybe they did, but something they did was put a very high resistance resistor across the pads of the capacitor. While it does a little bit of filtering, what it's really meant to do, because it's a very high resistance resistor, what it's meant to do is discharge that cap when things turn off. That's what I did, yeah. IoTs are, it's not, but it's not assigned in the device, it's assigned in the router. Is that the right way to do it, or do I have to assign them from... That may be why it's a little bit hinky when the power goes out, if my router's doing all that work. Oops, I gotta seat the capacitor a little better. There we go. Okay, cap's back in and blocking all the pins. Wi-Fi in Asus supports like 100 devices reliably. Afterwards, no one knows. The thing that we did to the router is we took it apart, because I got this Asus router right here with doll hands all over it. We took it apart and we actually made RPSMA adapters for the back. And that was like a 3D printing thing we had to do. And then I run these huge antennae off of the back of the rack. That gives me decent, like okay Wi-Fi in some locations, but not all. It kind of sucks having the antennae in the basement, but it's all I can do to get a little bit of Wi-Fi outside of the house. That's why I would really like to go Ubiquity, because then you can get like outdoor antenna and stuff like that. And you can just, it'll just fill your whole house with Wi-Fi. Much better than relying on crappy Asus stuff. Asus is okay. It's okay. It's not bad. I mean, I've currently got 20 clients in my Internet of Things things. I'm kind of selective about what I Internet of Thing. But in the future, if I expand that to be like a whole house, which will... I know I'm eventually going to get there. One day I'll wake up and I'll go, wait, the whole house is now connected to my router. I should probably at that point get a separate router to run IoT. All right, so I'm just going to squish this thing back in, and hopefully all that heatsink gloop, maybe I'll squish the heatsink gloop from above just a little bit, and that'll reconnect it to the outside and hopefully keep the MOSFETs happy for a long time. 2x Asus and a mesh setup. I used to have that in my old house, my fresh out of college, my Obama era house. There we go. No, I don't want to. I want to go with like Ubiquity. Ubiquity is made for like small business. Oh, that's cute. It felt like it plugged in. It felt like it plugged in. It really felt like it plugged in. It felt like it. That one did not, but this one definitely felt like it plugged in. Sheesh. Most of my Tasmota stuff is on a private intranet that does not talk to the internet. That's actually a very good idea, and I should probably do that. But because we started small with the Tasmota stuff, we started very Bush League. I did not put a lot of devices on Tasmota's network. It would probably be a good idea, especially for stuff like the Fartbox, if I put it on its own little intranet that didn't have an outside connection. its own little WLAN or whatever. Its own little okay, what's going on here? This thing feels like it's shifted way to the side. I put this in the right direction. Yeah, this is fine. I think I bent the pins around. Ah! What was that? Imagine the router not turning on because it can't tell the IoT power outlet to deliver power. Yeah, that's you want to avoid that. If you must IoTs, it's usually not usually a not good client in terms of connection and speed. The ideally, oh man, you're losing me in this, would be to reserve a separate Wi-Fi router just for them so they can have their own chat and not disturb regular clients. Yeah, that's what we were saying is giving it its own router that's not connected to the internet. That would be a good way to do it, and I could probably do that in the future. I would just have to tell everybody that they're on a new network. It would be annoying to configure, but it wouldn't be that hard to do. So expanding into something like that would be great. Yeah, then you can put your TVs that make you drink a verification can on that network as well. All right, so the black wire goes to the case, and it does that, I think here. Oh, no, that's, wait a minute. Yeah, the black wire goes to the case, right? Or does one of them goes to the nub and the other one goes to the case? Hold on, we can resolve this pretty easily by looking at its buddy, where the leads haven't been bent yet. This one I should probably also just reflash while we're here, just so I don't forget that command. Yeah, the black wire goes to the case. Okay. Goes to the socket outside. Best is to go Zigbee and not even be on Wi-Fi frequencies. Yes, and then you can lord it over everybody you talk to it about. I went Zigbee. Look at me. You guys are the Linux users of IoT. You Zigbee weirdos. We have a couple people who've done Zigbee here. Okay, that to there, and then it just presses on without me hurting myself, which is kind of a tough thing to do. Oh, come on. Just press it on. Ah, damn it. I could use a hammer, or I could just press it against the desk, but that'll bend this wire a little bit. I don't want to bend that wire. Maybe I can press it against the vise. And that way it won't move the wire. It's not going well. Oh yeah, and the plastic thing can also, I gotta be careful of the plastic end. These things are kind of fragile. Oh, there we go. I just manhandled it into place. All right, so there's that part. And then up here, we've got a little tiny wire sticking out. We just bend that over to the side a little bit. And then this nub just kind of press fits into it. Now it is in a light bulb. Is that a NEMA socket? What socket is that? I'm gonna put this on it. And then we get the label maker. Label maker. What are we loaded up with? Black and white. We don't want that. We want it to be clear. Let's see. I want black and clear. Black and white, red and clear. Well, then the text wouldn't be visible. Black and clear. Here we go. Black and yellow, black and yellow. Man, that joke was the heyday of that joke when I was in college. I couldn't get away from that one. Stupid song. Okay, power this on. We are in 1/2 inch. And then over to here. Delete, delete, delete. Font size, I want it to be, what is that size? That one's huge. So maybe the biggest font size that we can muster out of this thing. 32. Server. Ooh, all in caps. Excuse me. We can do 2 lines, do server status. Let's just do server. Oh yeah, nice and bold. Make sure you know what you're using. Okay, power that down. Back in the cabinet. The label maker is one of the most important tools that I have, because it basically makes labels that you can't rub your hands on and blur. For parts storage, I have those little bins that I put the labels on, and for the longest time I was just using Sharpie on top of the plastic. And while it does stick around for a little bit, eventually just the pressure of finger oils on top of the thing would smudge everything, and so it would be this big smudgy mess, and I wouldn't know what's where. Why am I not peeling this? Is there not a break in the middle of it? No, there's a break. There it is. The labels, the label tape has a split backing. So typically what you can do is flex it and then grab the edge and peel it off. And you don't have to peel at the edges of the label, because when you peel at the edges of the label, you get, again, all your finger oils and crap on it. And then that causes the label to peel up a little bit, and that can lead to it coming undone. So to avoid that, they split the label down the middle, well, to one side. Although I am messing up and getting all kinds of fingerprints under this thing now. Server. I'm looking at this word server sitting in front of me, and it's starting to semantically satiate, and it's starting to lose meaning in my mind. What is a server? It's wrinkling. It's wrinkling because it's not flat. Oh my God. That's good enough. That's good enough. We can just do it kind of crappy. So this is bulb 3, aka server status, and I bought this nice little wooden base. It still looks pretty crappy, but whatever. To air is to server. What? To server, man. All right. All right. Power on. Plug my thing. It's your cookbook. Why are you purple? Start wearing purple, wearing purple. Yada da da da. Why is it light blue? Oh, because it's already configured. Oh my God. No, wait, no, it's not. It's not in here. I didn't add it. So technically, if I do bulb 3, technically, if I send it the get, if I press this button, probably is not quite working yet. Yeah. Single output JSON, red, yellow, and green. I've got it configured to. It's doing the HTTPS request. Oh, I didn't deploy. Deploy. And then if I hit, okay, so it says bulb 3 is offline. So all this stuff was very cheap. I don't know. So we had to take this one apart in order to get into the modem and actually program it. But if you buy the right thing, if you don't do what I did and just buy any old thing, if you buy the right thing, you can avoid having to disassemble the device in order to reflash it. Server, I hardly know her. Oh, jeez. Okay. And I probably should have just purchased the proper thing so that I could do it wirelessly. All of the Tasmota stuff that I have, I actually had to break apart and program. Sorry if you answered this already. It's all right. But is there a wirelessly controlled switch for AC power to the LED light bulb? That's good for safety. What? Why would you want... Wait, what? Huh? Wirelessly controlled switch for the AC power to the LED light bulb. No. Why would you do that? No, this is a status light. The whole purpose behind the status light is that it's always on. Yeah. The computers are so ubiquitous you can get one in a cheap light bulb. They're cheaper than regular light bulbs sometimes. But if you select it properly, there's a website that you can go to that lists out all the Tasmota devices. And if you can find one with a wireless configuration, and you can follow a tutorial in order to figure out what you need in order to put Tasmota on it. Me, I am more of a practical person, and I've grown up around programmers, so I appreciate pulling the whole thing apart and just getting into a TX and RX pin and reflashing the whole thing. But the advantage of Tasmota is that it is not phoning home. Let's go back to our Singled RGBW light at 192.168.2.191. And supposedly, if I click that, yes, it turns off. Okay. This here. So you can see it. It's kind of a very low, a faded out blue. And there it's a little brighter. Oops. Okay, so supposedly, yeah, I guess we're not controlling the second one, and the second one has a weird light temperature on it. Okay, so now we need to tell it that it's a specific kind of light, because if I go to the other bulb, what is the IP address for the other bulb? Hold on, let's find that out. I need to reopen the ASUS router to see which one's which. I could just remember it, but that would be impossible. Clients, show me the clients, view list. Bulb 2 is at 129. Oof, I have a thing of Wawa iced tea in front of the keyboard, so I can't see what I'm doing. What is the template on this one? Singlet RGBW. Flag 0 base 18. I think that's what this one is configured the same way. RGBW, none, PWMs, and then other, yeah, flag 0 base 18, 416, 19, 18, etc. Console. Is it possible that I can view the last commands? No. Darn it! I don't think I have like a console log on this thing either. So I need to configure it as a 2 fader RGBW. RGBW. Please stop it with the AI. Urge. This would be setting the color. Okay, so that's not what we're looking for. Pixel type, 4-channel strip RGBW, default 3 channels. ESP32 only. Oh, yes. This is indeed what we need to do. Pixels or palette or multi-channel PWM. Man, I don't remember which ones these were. Oh boy. Oh boy. Pixel type. Was it 4? I don't remember which one it was. Pixel type add 8 4-channel strip GRBW WGRB. I don't think it's these though, because it's I think RGB, like the W's on a different pin. Only in your network? It doesn't leak metadata about your light's usage to some weirdo on the internet? No, it does not. That's the whole purpose of my Tasmotizing. You don't have to get their application. You can use just generally whatever you want to control them. And in my case, I'm using node red with an MQTT broker called Mosquito. So I have something that runs Mosquito on from my file server that's looking at the network and taking the MQTT messages and then relaying them to whatever friendly name we assign them. That's that whole friendly name thing, and that's why I've got this node here that says bulb3 that I just reconfigure to be bulb3 and respond to the commands that I give it. It simplifies things a whole lot. I just have to remember what the hell I did for my configuration in order to tell this thing that it is in fact a Sengled RGBW. Now I've done this with the other lights so that if somebody types into my chat idea, this light back here will light up yellow. So if I say idea, something comes back from the Twitch API and it sees that some chat message contains the word idea, and then it will send a color request command via MQTT to the bulb itself. This is going to come off. This looks like it's already starting to peel. Ah! And so that gives me like a little indicator, if somebody says idea or if somebody subscribes, it'll also light up. Remember the show Are You Being Served? I don't. I don't remember that show. Oh, somebody gave 100 bits. Do we not have a 100 bits thing? I thought I may not have had bits light up because people haven't given bits in a long time. Oh, now suddenly we're getting bits from everywhere. CFG83. Thank you for the bits. I need to put up a bits alert. Thank you for the bits. Really appreciate that. Okay, so there's one little piece to the configuration that I don't remember, and that would be the command that I need to use in order to tell it that it not only has RGBW, but it also has 2 channels for PWM, and one's the white channel. We're not doing NeoPixel. I think it has to do with this stuff, the pixel type. It might have been 3. Let's just send it pixel type 3 and see if red is red and blue is blue. Actually, what we can do is check on this one. I think we capitalize pixel type unknown input. Why was that unknown input? Pixel. I did pixel. Pixel type. No, it doesn't like that. Mm-hmm. That's weird. Seems like it auto shuts off after 2 seconds. That might be easy to miss if it's not in your field of view at the time. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's how it's configured. It's not an absolute. It's just a fun little thing, Yeah, and people can time when they have the key, use the keyword, or lighting up a light when somebody says idea in my chat is not exactly like a utilitarian function. It's just me being a snippy little asshole. Let's see. Amp res, weight res, speed unit. What is speed unit? What the hell? There's a lot of stuff that Tasmota devices do. I don't understand. I mean, pixel type didn't work. There's a sub. Thank you, Pseudomaze. Hi, Bother, working on the backup server. Yeah, so we're working on the indicator light for the backup server. Do you remember, Pseudomaze? You may not. What command we sent the Tasmota in order to configure it at the very end? Because there was a way to configure it properly to have the 2 dimmers, the RGB and the W dimmer and switches all set up properly, and I don't remember what it was. Set hex color value, PWM mode. 0, 1, and 2 is toggle between modes. Okay. I don't think we did that. Pixels. Number of pixels in the strip. We're not doing that. Oh, so pixel type is invalid because we're not on a strip. That's right. Okay, so we're not doing that. Okay. That's different. We need L1 HSB color set fade dimmer setup. That's setup value. Oh, set option 37 128. Set option 37. IR receive protocol. No. It's, I remember it was one of these. Oh my God. Power. Okay, it was the set options. I'm starting to remember it a little bit. The long string we already put into it, according to what was on the Tasmota site. That's this right here. But then we have this set option command that I think does something with the PWM. Control with color and dimmer. Adjustable LED. Color string. I wonder if there's a check option. Blinking during Wi-Fi. Number of times to retry. Backlog, skip number. Boot loop. We don't want to mess with that. There's a lot here. This is a lot of commands. These devices are fairly comprehensive. But do not use on ESP. I like how they give the little lights around it. To your device. No, we found it. I found option 37. Man, what was that? Multi-PWM? There is just a lot of this stuff. Blinds and shutter support. Turn red LED, brightness LEDs off 5 seconds. Nope, that's not it. Holy crap. Well, somewhere in here. Shutter PWM range. Buzzer. Oh, you can set a higher PWM range if you're really that crazy. Option 68. Set option 68. Uses power X to turn lights on and off and channel X to change the value of each channel. Color still works to set all channels at once. Don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's the right one. Change the color mapping with set option 3730. You can split RGB from white with set option 37158. Aha! See also option 37. Dimmer. Channel remap. Ah, there we go. Disable 1 to 119 according to this table. Oh my God, I kind of remember this now. invalid, and then same but with independent channel handling. So you're saying I should set it to 158, which is somewhere in here. Does that make it like... Well, we'll try it. We'll try it. Set option 3730 or set option 37158. I think that's the one that I want. Can I check what my option 37 is on another device? Check option? No. What if I just send it set option 37? Because this one is already configured. This one has all the right stuff in it. Well, let me check it over here. Console. Set option 37 is 0. Okay, so we can check it. $128. So 128 is how this one is configured. You were wrong. Your suggestions were wrong. Set option 37 128. Good to have a working example of what you're trying to do, huh? Okay, so now I think, oops. Now I think, yeah. Okay, there we go. So now I've got two separate faders. So T2 is the, which one? The one that's not doing anything. What? Wait, huh? Huh? T1, on, off. And that's the, what's that color? And there's the hue and the saturation. And red is red. Green is green. Blue is blue. I can fade that a little bit so that you guys aren't totally blasted out by it. T2 should be the W LED, and it's not doing anything right now. So that one is not functioning. I think it's only one frequency. Oops, oh, that dropped out. Set option 37 128. This one we set, but we also don't have the separate, I don't know, T2's not doing anything. Whereas if we go into this one and I go to the main menu and I do T2, this thing turns on white or slightly yellow, 4300K or something. So we're back in the console. And I'm looking to see if there's another... Well, actually, let's check the pins. Let's see that the pins are right. So in this one, if we look at other... That's not what we're looking at. Configuration template, maybe? Yeah. 2143. 2143. Okay, so that's the same. Based on generic 18, bulb 2, and this one has to be renamed to bulb 2. So configuration, let's rename it. So the module is Sangled port 1883 2220. Topic bulb 3, full topic, all that stuff. MQ, that was MQTT, sorry. I'm just kind of going through everything quickly here to make sure that everybody's on page. I don't think I do anything with this. Sensor, temperature sensors and stuff. That would be kind of fun. You could put temperature sensors and everything. Yeah, where's like the main device name? Because how is this one called Tasmota and this one's called Bulb 2? Probably missed something. Let's let this load and I'll take a look. Names in the other menu. How do I keep going to that one? Herc! It's starting to get annoyed. That's not the right one. Device user, bulb 2, that's all the same. I'm not going into the right menu, am I? This is like NASA launching a light bulb into space. It's about the same speed of configuration. Oh, in the other menu. Above templates. Oh, friendly name, device name. That's where I need to do it. Yeah, right there. Bulb 3. Capital B, capital B. Capital B, bulb 3. You save? There we go. Gotta wait, gotta wait, gotta wait, gotta wait. Hey, Short Lurker, do you remember what the commands we sent were? Because we sent it set option 37, but the white LED part isn't working, and that might just be down to my not plugging it in properly. I don't know. I think I plugged it in properly. It should be able to light up white, but T2 isn't working on this. I've got T1 working just fine because there's blue coming out of the thing. Because we set option 37, that only took us like a half hour to figure out. But was there a second option that we told it? Something to do with the PWM? Everything looks just about the same though. Backup bulb 2 config and get Tasmota decode config to see what settings you need. Oh, so you can do this like by pulling files? Probably from the web interface. Let's see. That's all MQTT, DNS, IP, AP1, friendly name. I mean, we're not going to use that. We're not going to use the white mode on this because I don't need to illuminate external things with this. But I'm just curious as to why it's not lighting up. Only NASA would have a flight termination system attached to the bulb. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're going to have to scrub this. So, bulb 2, backup, dot dump, keep, and then Tasmota configuration, what was that called? Oh, Tasmota decode config. Okay, so let's get a version of this. .spec. Where's the releases? That's what I'm looking for. I saw that meme again today where it was the one about having a download button on GitHub. What the hell are you doing, GitHub? I just want to download an exe. Do we have a releases section? Oh, geez, I don't see our releases. Detonate the FTS on the ball. Well, you know, let's not get into detonating things remotely, wirelessly. That ain't a thing that I think I can talk about. README, license, development, pull requests, project, security. I don't think I want to get the zip. Right side above profile icons. What am I talking? What am I doing here? Why am I dumb? Chat, why am I dumb? Why am I dumb? Do I need to buy something? Releases, here we go. 42 releases. Okay, so we want the one for Mac OS or Ubuntu. And I just run EXEs. I just trust them completely. There's the virus. Do I have to run this from... Okay, so... Command... Lack of AI. What? This isn't Linux. It doesn't know what that is. LS. LS is not recognized. What is it? Windows again? Shit. It's not CD. It's I have a cheat sheet for Linux console commands, not for Windows. I forget what it is. Dir. That's right. If you learn of the dir, if you know the dir of the nerd rhyme. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, thank you. Dir. So, I want the downloads. CD downloads. No, not documents. And then dir. That's right. The downloads folder is a little bit big. So what I'm running is the... Well, is it in a zip file? It might be in a folder. I think it downloaded the exe directly. Yeah, because I just ran it. So that one would be the decode config exe. And here are our instructions. So I want to decode config s, and then whatever the file is, config build blah 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 dot dump. Oh, I wish this had a UI. Oh my god! Ah! So easy! Is there any way this looks at all digestible? Oh my god! Oh my god. Look at all this crap. Looks like an EQL issue. I mean, I guess I could throw in windometer speed factor. There we go. Yeah, this is all my subscribers. Set option 37. If your bulb has an RGB and single white LED and not two separate white channels. It's messing up the YouTube encoding, really? Die! Use set option 37.1 only if your bulb has RGB and single white LED and not two separate white channels. It doesn't have two separate white channels. This has one channel. Pretty sure. Why are you significantly hotter? Oh, that's quite warm indeed. Why are you warm? Wait a minute. I don't like this. It could be that it is wired wrong, and actually it does work with the set option 37. We could just have some kind of a problem with the LED right now, because if I go into the main menu of bulb 3, T2 is on, and using the advantage that I have over the home gamer, which is a thermal imager, Used to be expensive. You can get these for pretty cheap now. I would suggest you do if you're doing a lot of device repair and stuff, because this is a piece of information. And that piece of information is telling me that while we have the second RGBW, or rather the second, the white channel on, if I turn that off, it's likely that this thing is going to cool off again. So there is a physical issue, not a configuration issue. The configuration program is absolutely fascinating, and I'm sure we could get to the bottom of it, but I think a set option 37, 128 was all we did. And we were able to check that by sending the set option 37. By sending it that command, it was able to poop back out what successful configuration had happened. Something's wrong with this one. So we'll pop this thing open and take a look inside of it once it has a chance to cool off just a little bit. And instead of having an open pit 120 volt socket, I'm going to go ahead and turn this one off. So, oh, look at that. And you guys didn't help me with that because you guys suck at troubleshooting, huh? Have you guys ever troubleshot anything? What's your problem? Thought I could trust your asses. Wait, is that a dual? That is actually a dual PWM, isn't it? Huh. Oh no, that's the RGB, right? Okay, so this is fixed white on the other. Bro, I know you guys are catching strays. I thought I fixed plugging it in, but I didn't. That was on me. So the MOSFETs were sitting there trying to switch nothing, and I guess heating up as a result. I'm against guns. You're shooting trouble, you know. The troubles. That was the Irish. Just the thing being able to plug in sideways is really weird. I can't believe that the FETs would heat up like that, huh? I can't help you if there's no Jeffries tube. Good old Jeffries tubes. Harder than you think, getting this thing to plug in. There's like no indexing of it, so you have to kind of like feel around, and because of the way we disassembled it, it made everything go cattywampus. I should like write inside of this set option 37 for the next time I come in here. Yeah, this is just kind of an afterthought. You can twist it to like seat it, but I can't feel where it's supposed to like snap in. They used Celastic to hold it on in the original. Well, that took all stream. I don't know, you know, getting this thing up and running, and we're not done yet. We're not done yet. All right, let me turn this thing back on. This will probably pop into something. I didn't verify that I had actually gotten into the right thing. Let's see what happens when I hit the... Oh, there it is. Okay. So now this is lighting up properly. And the base, I don't know how long the base takes to cool. It's basically just the metal sleeve inside of there that's taking all that extra heat energy. Now that it's actually switching energy to the LEDs, I don't know. It's an arc reactor. So the server status light has the capability of doing that, but what I want is for it to be able to go red. Dun, dun, dun. And so in order to do that, I have all the friendly names and the device name configured with a capital B bulb. Let's just double check that on the MQTT page. Capital B bulb 3. Lowercase b. Capital B. Oh wait, is the topic supposed to be? Yeah, the topic is the bulb 2. This topic is bulb 3. Capital B bulb. Save. Configuration saved. Device restarts. Any day now? I don't know. Okay. Bulb 3 should go green at some point. Oh, I see. They just don't show anything. Okay. So now let's get the server status. Bada bing. And this is green. So apparently it contained anything but. And I don't think we have we're not monitoring anything. That doesn't make sense because the server should be returning. It should return something that will trigger red. It's not plastic welded. It's actually supposed to be a little structure that locks it in, but I guess it fit too loosely, so they decided to use glue. So what are we getting back from this thing? Let's get a debug going. Let's scene ID. I don't need to worry about that. So let's just put the debug coming out of here, activate it, and let's deploy. And now if I throw it a get, we get all this information. This is coming back from the whatever it is, the God, what do I call it? What do I even call it? We're essentially doing an HTTPS request with an authorization on it that has its own API key that's generated from within the file server. Yeah, it's getting the doohickey over the interface. That's the best I could describe it. And so what we're looking for anywhere in here is critical and info. And I guess it's getting neither of those, or it's getting multiple hits of those. So what if I hook this up to red? Well, actually, just hook it up to the end of this and deploy that, clear that, get. Okay, so it is not triggering that. Message payload contains that. And if I deploy this and then I hit it with this, then the message payload contains all this stuff. It's a huge string, 5,000 character string. And what this is getting is the alerts that are present in the system. Dismiss false mail text logs ID level is error. Formatted apps failed to migrate. Controller A, controller B, date, mail null, text. I don't know if the right text is in the right place then, because this should have gone red. This is the typical server status is good. I should probably dim that a little bit more. Let's go green 10. Now this will fade out a little bit. Oh, I don't have it timed. I have to manually hit the get there. It's a little dimmer than what it was. It's not very linear. I think it goes up to like, I don't think 255. I think it goes up to like 100 as like a percent. And so we're at 10% brightness and it's pretty bright. It's blowing out the camera too. Let's go down to 5. 5. Oh, green 5. I just do that to let me know on the outside what's going on. Deploy. Get. That did not dim it any more than it already was. Huh. Is that not going through? Because the other ones were way dimmer than that. What do we have over here? Let's see. Which one does... Yeah, these are all 40, 40, because those are to get my attention. I wonder. Well, anyway, going back to this one, yeah, green 5 is supposed to be like a lot dimmer than that. 5 seems like it's a little overcharged. Is this one still getting hot? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, is the white LED on? That looks pretty green to me. It looks white to you guys just because of the camera. Yeah, bulb 3 reports that only... Let me refresh the page here. Oh, maybe because I manually set it. Hold on, I'll turn it off, and then we'll try again. Why is it not able to be controlled? Oh, or I'm not generating any of those, but we got green last time. Like, that should have sent us a green. Oh, but it's not going to send the same command twice because of the filter. Right. My neighbor's garage is opening and closing. No, it won't send the same command twice, so I need to actually inject like a different color into the thing. I don't want to do that. I just want to get that again. There. Yeah, this is Node Red keeping me from controlling it. Okay, so that's yellow. That looks green. And then if I send it this one, that looks the same damn color. What the heck? That should have been green 5, and it's the same brightness as yellow 80. Is this thing like going back to... I don't know what's going on here. The other bulb is perfectly fine to let me control it, but then... All right, let's get rid of some of this stuff that's confusing. We don't need any of the TrueNAS stuff. We're getting that correctly. Don't need curl commands. It seems to be... So yellow is there, and then if I send it... Get out of here. And then I send it... Get out. Leave. Okay. This one. Is this one going yellow? Is that what's going on? Maybe I had the wrong command. Oh, it is sending yellow. Okay, so that is successful. We don't have any dire warnings on our thing. We have almost dire warnings. So let's go back to green 10. And what we'll do is we will clear... oops, forgot to actually change it. We will clear all of the alerts and turn this from yellow to green. All right, so this supposedly does work. I am going to deploy this. Oh, we also need to involve a timer in here. So what kind of timer things do I have? I mean, I have time switch. Or I could time it off of something else. What else do I have here? Delay. I could have a delay running at like 5 every hour. It'll delay 1 hour. What is a trigger? I can do... Send one. Resend it every 1 hour. So every hour, it'll just check on my server. 1 hour is a pretty big delay, but it just keeps me from spamming stuff. And then that's it. Reset the trigger if override delay with message delay, if message reset is set, if message payload equals handling all messages. We'll just do a 1 hour check, and that'll just be our trigger for the thing. Get is just an override. Just try to keep it tight. We'll do this. Get rid of the get, or put the get over here. There, reset every 1 hour. HTTP request, see if it contains anything other than dire warnings, and light up the light in accordance with that. Now, I can't send myself a message that says that there's absolutely something that I need to address. What I'm wondering is why this thing didn't go red, because I think I had some pretty vital warnings to worry about. Why are we still getting so hot? Is this just a result of it? This may be just that it hasn't cooled down fully because it's running this whole time. Maybe it'll eventually return to the same temperature as the other one. I hope. I hope anyway. Okay, so this is all set up. We have this thing at a 1 hour interval requesting the status of the messages inside of the server. The best way we found to check the drive status in general, or just whether or not there's something I need to address inside of the server system, is to look at the messages, the alert messages, and see whether or not any of them contained a dire warning about something. And I'm pretty sure we're looking at the whole thing. I think we don't get it to print out the whole thing, but it does. The payload is that 5,000 character list of warning messages, I think. I hope so anyway. So I'm going to deploy this, and then we're going to open up my TrueNAS. 192. Probably going to make me upgrade the software. Okay. And now, if I go in here and clean out all of these alerts, which it says I have 2. Apps failed to migrate. This is from 2024. Dismiss. Warning, boot pool is consuming USB. Dismiss that one. An update is available for Plex. No, dismiss that. Update available for Node-RED. No. Dockage I'm not going to touch. System upgrade available I could probably do right now, but I think I'm going to leave that alone. Scrub pool of tank finished. Dismiss. Boot pool. Dismiss. USPS status, blah, blah, blah. Battery charge percent is at 100. Battery time remaining, 1749. Dismiss. There are no alerts except for these 2. System updated and my boot pool over USB. But if I dismiss those, and then we go back to Node-RED, and I send it to check, supposedly that's a green light, and I can't see it because it's too bright. Let's just see if we go green 5, and then that'll be a very dim green. I think it might actually still be yellow because of the USB warning. Oh yeah, here it is. So wait, no, hold on. Done, clear, deploy, get. That still looks kind of bright. I think it might still be yellow. I think I need to do orange for this one. Because yellow and green for me are too close together. All right, let's see what that one looks like. Okay, that looks more red than anything else. That does not look really orange. I think the colors could use a little bit of tuning in the thing, because that looks red, not orange. I guess it's... No, that looks very red to me. Purple. There, now it's purple. Bright purple. How do I get rid of that USB warning other than removing the USB drive that's kind of stuck in there right now. Because I've got, see, I would like to just look for disks with errors on the thing. I don't know really how to get that command to work. I guess I got a little bit of work to do. I got some research to do to try to get into this and get a better warning. I thought the bell warning would have been good, but that USB drive is screwing me over. These are to reopen though. There are no alerts. Even though when I do get the alerts, But if there is a dire alert, it'll at least change color from sort of the idle one. So maybe we do purple 10 and just make it a dim purple. Now it's barely illuminated, but I do know that it's active. I'm having a little bit of a concern over the amount of heat that this thing is generating. I guess I'm going to turn it off and let it cool down, and then I'll turn it back on later on and see if it's yeah. But I guess we're doing okay. It looks like most of the system is functioning. I am unable to test it with a dire alert, and I've got a permanent sort of yellow alert going on to do with the USB drive that's plugged into the thing. It doesn't like it when you plug a USB drive in and have your OS on that. You should have it on an SSD because there's a lot of write cycling that goes on with the newer versions of TrueNAS. Maybe a system update would solve that problem, but I'm not sure. In the end, I can just, I need to like open up the server and pluck the drive off, and then it'll be running on an SSD. I think it's doubling with an SSD. I don't know how to check that. I think it's storage. But then that's the big drives. Yeah, those are just the big RAID drives, my 6 terabytes. Disconnect. Yeah, I don't know how to. I'm gonna have to look up some tutorials on how to do it. It's pretty easy to do. It's just I wonder if I do the update if it'll. I'll try it. SSH keys that are stored in root SSH are not backed up by the option. Additional sensitive information can be included in the configuration file. Export password secret seed. I don't know. This is too scary. I'm not going to do it right now. Too scary. I'll do it later. Okay, well, that does that thing. The second part that I wanted to look at was the Raspberry Pi stuff. The Raspberry Pi 5 thing. Are you saying? SSH is stored in the... in the what? No, it's too scary. I'm not going to touch it. I want to do the Raspberry Pi stuff today. The light bulb stuff took a little bit longer than I thought it would. If I start the Raspberry Pi thing now, I'm not going to get too far with it. It'll just be sort of the very boring stuff. So what I really think I want to do is wait till tomorrow, and then we'll do Raspberry Pi 5 stuff, and we'll try to get like LEDs running on it, and we can kind of muddle our way through that stuff. This stuff takes way longer to do when I do it on the air, just because I'm explaining myself the entire time. But in lieu of that, I'm going to close down. Cool, Raspberry Pi 5, you should put Linux on it. That's what I'm gonna do. Like we're doing a headless Raspbian install, and we're gonna get that running C code, and then the C code is going to enable us to use OpenGL to run what's called milkdrop plugins, which if you are old enough, you know what those are. If you're too old, you don't know what those are, and if you're too young, you don't know what those are. But if you were just in the right window, you will know what milkdrop plugins are and how awesome they are. And so what we will be able to do is get milkdrop-like plugins running. It's called Project M. And that all should be very easy, which is why I'm scared of it and why it's going to go horribly, why it's not going to go right any of the time that I try it. I'm also going to restart this computer for for tomorrow. But yeah, that's what we'll do, and we'll see if we can't get milkdrop plugins running on an LED screen. That's the ultimate. Oops, I didn't even update the command. I just ran it again. Hold on. Tomorrow is not the 99th, right? It's the 26th. Yeah, 26th. Yeah, but what we'll be able to do, hopefully, is get those milkdrop plugins running in OpenGL on like a little screen that I can plug into the Raspberry Pi with whatever resolution I set it to. We can then scrape pixels from that and put it onto the LED screen. But we'll see how that goes. You don't have that kind of ability to control these things. I mean, look, Node-RED is what's scrubbing all of this stuff. It's literally just looking for very specific things. If the chat message contains start soon, awe, or idea. But this one is supposedly connected. That's definitely not connected. I don't know what you think you're connected to. What the hell does it think it's connecting to? That's an emote, by the way. But yeah, so there's specific things that it's looking for and activating. You don't have the ability to just like use an exclamation command. That's just not how it works. And if I want to do more like nuanced message ID things, I could probably look for the contains exclamation point and then look for a command. But okay, so anyway, I am donezo. Here's your end card with the, let me go to the face cam here. End card with the information when I'm next going online. I have a corgi to go walk. I will be back in approximately 20 hours, 69 minutes and 6 seconds. I'll be 10 seconds late. No, I'm not going to be 10 minutes late. What am I talking about? Anyway, I'm going to go walk the dog. Keep it real, and hopefully we can get into more nuanced and complicated things tomorrow, because I would really like to get these LEDs running. It's going to take a couple streams. I think maybe just shoving myself into the project tomorrow and doing all the due diligence that we need to do. Maybe if things go really well, we will get close to there. Maybe we'll be able to actually see a visualization tomorrow. That would be very cool to do. It seems like it's very high level, not very low level stuff that we're doing. It's simple. We're telling major systems to interact with each other. I think that'll be okay. But if we run into errors, it might be a hair-tearing experience. So trepidation for tomorrow. I'm nervous about tomorrow, and we'll see how it is. I will catch you guys then. Until then, all of you are responsible for watching somebody else's stream. Go see who's online, and I will catch you tomorrow as soon as I find the scene that I'm flipping to.